got of him wasn't beaming with smiles. I think that the biggest problem is stability, and it's not a massive problem. He wasn't really complaining too much. And the fact that the front of the fairing is quite narrow, the top end of the fairing on that 24 Fireblade, and you can alter it, and they have altered it. They made it a bit wider. He's quite a broad lad. He's got quite big wings across his shoulders, as Dean. And you're hitting wind that's coming at you best part of 200 mile an hour for a long time. You don't get that anywhere else. That was making the time.
Here we go then. Dean Harrison is underway to kick us off on qualifying, and we are going racing around the course tonight. Jamie Coward is getting himself ready to head off as well. James Hillier, who had a very strong Monday night, and I have to say, when I went down to see him in the paddock earlier, he is more than happy. He said there's even more to come. He's out there on that WTF Honda. He's great on that, and he's happy with his Supersport as well.
He's always happy.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Davey Todd can do on the Superstock bike. I don't believe he has turned a wheel yet.
No,
and he hasn't, so he's going to probably be on that big runaway.
Everybody rolls on the line. Dino rounds Quarter Bridge.
Yeah, he was quite animated. I mean, Dean is animated at the best of times anyway as a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
But let's see how he gets on and whether or not they've managed to make those changes to the fairing. Next up is Josh Brooks on the Monster Energy FHO Racing BMW.
He had a little bit of a nightmare on Monday night. Hit quite a big bird. Reckoned it was a large thrush, I'm not sure. But anyway, he made a mess, smashed the screen. He did a full lap without the screen. That's a big ass round here.
Yeah, and you saw McGuinness taking off there, and he spoke about the aero. They actually, on his setup, they just put two tiny little carbon fiber lips, just little tiny
Just to
lips on
deflect.
there to deflect that at speed. It actually adds up to some protection.
Next up, just before Mike Rutter sets off, was Rob Hodson on the SMT Honda. And then we've got Craig Neve, his Bath Males. Is that Michael Rutter pulling over to one side? I think it is.
There's something going on there.
Yeah. Rutter's pulling over immediately. Craig Neve sets off down Glen Crutchery Road and down Bray Hill, but there's some sort of issue here.
Yeah, and you're better finding it out and making your decision early, because you can get back up the return road and make adjustments or fix it or change bikes.
Fastest ever man around the island. Peter Hickman heads off now on his Monster Energy FHO Racing BMW. He's out there on his Superbike. He was more than happy with his Superstock machine a couple of nights ago. Let's see how he fares on his Superbike. Was that Michael Dunlop that was next off? Quite get a glimpse of that as Craig Neve now pops down the hill. The first braking zone here around the island into Quarterbridge.
Yeah, a bit wide, a bit tentative, and you would be new tyres, full tank.
So these guys out of Quarterbridge, they'll head up towards then Bradford Bridge. We're now looking at Jamie Coward. He's a bit further round than that, and up to Glen Helen already. We're getting our first times. So our best time, in Superbike in all laps, Davey Todd,
yeah, that was
18.1.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Coward at Crosby, and then the Crosby leak got it a little bit crossed up. You try and get across the right-hand side of the course, just because there's a little bit less lip on the road there.
The actual temperature out there is really ideal for racing. It's not too hot, not too cold. The bikes are going to be quick, and this is ideal weather, actually.
So then, these guys all setting off. We'll obviously be keeping you up to track with the various sectors. Glen Helen, Sector 1, Ballath, Sector 2, before they then make their way up to the hairpin, the bungalow and Crocknamona.
That was Greeba Castle, the left and the right. You could see the actual castle. There is a castle at Greeba.
Let's get down to Steve Plater. Of course, a couple of nights ago he was over at Kirkmichael. Tonight, he's over by the Crosby Leap.
Yeah, we're down at Crosby here. We've had the first of the front guys through. It's incredible. There's a big line of fans down the side. Actually, the wind's really picked up here just recently in the last 10 minutes. Basically, whoa, look at that. Oh, dear. Unbelievable. The guys are all moving over to their right-hand side of the course. That's the lower part of the road there. But when they're coming over, you can see the guys, they're slightly rolling on the throttle just to get the bikes to load up, and then as soon as they land, boom, back on the gas. Oh, dear me. That was Craig Neve, I think, but what a, unbelievable it really is. The wind's picking up, it's blowing them really strong out to that side of the road. Look at the waggle, and that was Davo. Some instability, there we go. Nice and smooth as you'd expect from Peter Hickman. It's quite incredible here, it's got a big line of fan base all the way down the side, there you go. Michael Rutter on the Honda Fireblade looking good. What a place to come, it's a first for me here. It's nice, it's exciting. Paddy, my cameraman, he's well excited. Back to you, Steve.
Thanks very much, Steve. Do you know what I love about that shot? more than anything else is the fact that there's 40-mile-an-hour limit signs in the background.
Yeah.
And these guys are flat chat over the top of Crosby Hill. Here's the helicopter as we now look over towards Jamie Cowan, who's the first up through Glen Helen. That water, now that has been there a couple of days. That's water, that's not just damp patches, James, that's water.
Sweating.
Right, yeah. What did I tell you? I've been round in the car this morning, it was dry everywhere. The flags are obviously out, but they're not expecting it to be as bad as it is. There's some kind of water pressure coming up through the gap or the seam between the left and the right, and then it's just running across because of the camber. It's not going anywhere, and I don't think they're going to get rid of it so easily.
Davey Todd's out on his Superbike once again.
Yeah, I have to say, actually, Mark, you pointed out that they didn't get much time on the Superstock. Now, I don't know if I can read much into this, but there was a lot of work going on in Milwaukee BMW earlier on that stock. It might not be anything, but it's just something definitely to take into consideration. So, to Glen Helen, just quickly, Coward is just under 2/10 clear of James Hillier and Ian Hutchinson. And there's that flag with the red cross.
Yeah, that's the approach to Glen Helen, what you call Glen Helen 3. It's actually Glen Helen 2 now, because Glen Helen 1 is called Rutters. It's been renamed, but that's what the riders see, and when they get round, so that's just before Glen Helen. They'll see a flag, they'll know there's something on the road, they'll know where it is from the other night, I think. You know, they'll have an idea at least, but that's water, kind of...
That's sweating from beneath.
That's it, that's the word, actually.
Oh, wow.
Was that Coward?
Jamie Coward.
Jimmy Coward, yeah.
Yeah. Stalker.
That was from Coward.
Look at that shot.
And
Golly.
that's James Hillier. Some fantastic footage we're getting.
Well, it's 50 mile an hour now.
What you see now, what you see now is the bottom of Bagara, and then the previous show was obviously the top of Bagara, really steep, a lot steeper than it looks, a big compression in the bottom.
You see there.
What a cool place to watch.
Yeah, that's one of the first places I did watch when I was a kid. It's frightening.
We just saw James Hillier going through ahead of Dean Harrison. I rather fancy Dean Harrison's run into some trouble somewhere early on this lap on his Superbike, because he's all the way at the bottom of the timings from the grandstand to Glen Helen.
He's got to be there.
Davey Todd fastest
on the gas
from Dunlop, Hickman and McGuinness at the moment. Your top four out there on Superbikes. Josh Brooks is 6th quickest behind McGuinness. So McGuinness still inside that top 5, but it was Davey Todd who was fastest. In terms of the Superstocks, Jamie Coward was faster than James Hillier. Phil Crow's going out on his stock bike as well. I had a quick chat with Phil Crow earlier on. He says to me he might have a look at the Superbike one more time this week if he gets a chance. But it was, I'll just quote Phil Crow, an absolute pig. He's probably going to do the rest of the TT on his Superstock machine.
There you go. And why not? It'd just make it life a lot easier, wouldn't it? Just staying with one bike and get more and more familiar
And I think,
with it.
yeah, I think it's a massive ask for most people, and actually most of the mid-pack riders who build a Superbike, it's actually something between what you call a Superbike and a stocker.
Phil Crow, I believe, is a tuner, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a good tuner.
Good builder.
Yeah,
I
really
know
good,
exactly
yeah.
what, he's probably got similar horsepower in there.
It's Davey Todd to Glen Helen, who was quickest from Michael Dunlop. Jamie Coward is the first to the laugh. So there you see, just heading through. James Hillier is not far behind him on the road and immediately betters that. 2.1 clear. There is Phil Crow, just on cue.
Around the top of Bagara, then steep downhill to this point. Boom.
Seems very happy, said to me earlier on, fully fit. In comparison to last year, of course, where he was injured, just a couple of mile an hour off his personal best lap from a couple of years back.
Yeah, it was disappointing not to be able to run at crack the 130 barrier last year.
Now you see the difference in times between Davey Todd and Dean Harrison to the lap.
Yeah,
that
that
just
will.
shows you clearly
Sure.
Dean has had some issues.
It's nice to see Josh Brooks' name up there. He was kind of a little bit out of the picture on Monday.
Yeah, this is Dom Herbertson, really impressed with this kid. I think he's impressed with himself as well. It looked like he couldn't believe what he'd done.
I asked John Burrows, what's it like working with Tom? And he just kind of smiled. He went, he's a character.
Yeah, he's a character. He's like a cheeky chap. He talks a lot, intelligent lad, hard worker as well.
Yeah, and he's steadily been coming on since his debut a few years back. He's
Yes.
steady, steady, steady.
Yep, and that's the way around here.
And he's in the 130 club as of last year.
Yep.
Indeed, the Burrows Engineering by RK Racing BMW.
Ginger Hall around the left, and now we're into a place called Kerramore. It's a right and a left in down a bit of a dip, and it's all brand new tarmac there. The riders don't think you're going to gain much time, but it's definitely easier.
Let's just have another look at this from Jamie Coward. Watch this.
Oh, yeah, and that,
Golly.
yeah, well,
Well, he was talking about his front end not working perfectly on Monday, wasn't he?
it was talking. I tell you what he talked about. For me, it was a front end. It felt a front end issue, but they reckon they'd sussed it by
Springs.
harder spring at the rear, because what happens is when you hit them compressions, which that was, it sits down at the back, that lifts the front and unloads it and makes it unstable.
I can tell you that to Balaf at the moment, in terms of superbikes, it's the Milwaukee BMW with Davey Todd faster than Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop's just gone through and Peter Hickman's third. It's Todd, Dunlop, Hickman. You 1, 2, 3 to Balaf.
Yeah, and by quite a bit.
Yeah, Davey Todd's bike is quick in a straight line. You can see there at the Solby speed trap.
Yeah, we saw that at the Northwest, didn't we?
Not quite hitting the 200 mph marker just yet. We have seen that, of course, eclipsed on a number of occasions here at the TT, but not quite got there yet. And of course, we are still waiting for our first 130 lap, which I think will be coming tonight.
Hillier's Superstock bike is no slouch at 195.
So yeah, that's Jamie Coward, and there is Hillier. Davey Todd on his
And there's
Superbike.
Dean Harrison, look.
Yeah,
Dean
Harrison's
Harrison, that's Dean
got
Harrison. Well,
control.
we said he had issues.
Yeah.
He made it as far as Ramsey by the look.
Got to say this, there were some concerns pre-PT.
Yeah.
You see that?
West.
Good presence of mind. The first thing he does is get off the racing line. He knows who's coming and he knows exactly where they're going to be.
He'll be able to pull over here at Parliament.
Yeah. But also, do you see, it looked out the back of the bike. What you don't want if your bike is shonking out is to be making the track or the circuit more dangerous for anybody
This
else.
is not good.
No, it's not. And you're not getting back from there.
Well, he's going to have to get a ride very quickly.
And that it's a long run, though.
Yeah, it's far away.
Yeah.
This is Dave Johnson, Dave Johnson,
Go
number
on,
12. What's he doing? Getting a bit of airtime for us, the Aussie.
Nice one, mate.
Yeah, what a bloke. Lovely fella. He's actually sent me a text yesterday. He said, please call me Dave-O. That's my name. I want to be called David.
Wavy Davy. That's a beautiful cross on. Yeah, if you want a chance to look at it, it's 100% carbon fiber. Yeah. All over the tank and everything.
Yeah, that's a Lee Hardy bike. It's a good bike. How they used to building Superbikes for base mate.
Before, of course, Ian Hutchinson.
Yeah. Hutchinson, round Selamaris up towards the hairpin.
He's out there on his stocker, is Hutchinson.
You didn't get a chance there, but if you saw see him changing gear, that's with his right foot, not the more to do. Ooh.
That looked a bit wide. Was that McGuinness?
Yes. Thinking he's in the bushes.
Michael Rudder is back on track, boys.
Yeah, saw him heading back out, so obviously whatever there might have been an issue, I mean, could it have been something as simple as leaving a pit lane limiter on?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Or turn the petcock on, which they don't have, of course, but...
Yeah, I don't think it must have been something he felt he had to come back down the return road to fix. It wouldn't be something he could knock off instantly when he realised what it was.
Hillier is fastest of the stockers to the Ramsey hairpin ahead of Coward, Rob Hodson and Ian Hutchinson. There is Peter Hickman. He's out there on his Superbike. Hickman, third quickest of the Superbikes. It's Todd, Dunlop and Hickman at the moment. 6 seconds Davey Todd has on Michael Dunlop, with Peter Hickman in third. So much talk coming into this TT about Dunlop, Hickman and Harrison, and is it actually now going to be not just a big three but the big four? And Davey Todd, so far everything we've seen is suggesting that it is going to be potentially a big four. It's early days,
Everything we've seen all season, both on short circuits and at the northwest of David Todd, has been brilliant.
So Connor on another Honda has actually pulled up, he pulled in after the start line. He's back at Parc Ferme as we speak.
Mike Brown
down
into Parliament Square. Well, short circuit stuff. He's got it stopped, has he? Yes, he has.
wagging its tail.
Yep, nice smiley bloke he is. Had a good chat with him this morning.
Pretty happy with the
Very happy with it,
so far.
Yeah.
So far. Very good. So speed traps there for Davey Todd. He's the fastest from Josh Brooks, but in terms of the outright lap times, Davey Todd at the moment is the fastest rider out on the course on his Superbike. The fastest Superstocker at present is James Hillier. Dean Harrison had to pull over, and of course as soon as we get any more updates for you there, we will give you them.
Well, Taz knows how to build fast bikes. You know, they're famous around this course. They've got many, many wins over the years.
They certainly have. Yeah, they're no strangers to getting victories around here. Davey Todd, of course, looking to be a TT winner for the first time. Through the bungalow for Jamie Coward then. We're just tracking him now from the bungalow above from the helicopter. No, that's not Coward.
David Todd?
Yeah, I think it is Todd.
I think it was Todd. If it was Todd, it was really, really wide at the bungalow left. It was.
That from the wind, maybe, huh?
That's something that I was going to just pick up on as well, because the breeze was very strong from the grandstand. If it's strong down there, it's going to be strong up on this mountain.
Yes, it is. And in fact, over the last few years, they've made the addition of a couple of small-ish but very visible aircraft-type windsocks or airfield-type windsocks. So at least the riders are instantly able to see where the wind's coming from, because, like Mark said earlier, the kind of hills and the bumps and the lumps of the mountains can funnel the wind really close. Often the opposite.
You can hear on John's Honda exiting that corner how that new retarded kind of exit limiter, if you will,
yeah,
how that kicks in. It's actually killing a cylinder, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's just looking at there from the bungalow. John McGuinness now is going to head over to Howard Rise and Brandywell, the highest point on the mountain. Now Rob Hodson heading through the bungalow. Todd, Brooks, McGuinness at the bungalow. Brooks 20 seconds down, but here comes Hickman now.
Again, Hickman wide a little bit there.
Already though, he moves up into second place. You can just see to the bungalow there, the standings have got Josh Brooks' name, but shortly you will see Hickman's name move up into second. In fact, that will change again, because Michael Dunlop now 6 seconds behind Davey Todd.
So from Belaf to Ramsey, Davey Todd at the moment is only 4 seconds slower than the fastest ever sector time.
Wow.
I think he's got he's here to do something.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is Matt Stevenson. Had a good chat with Matt earlier on, number 38. He had a great first day. Let's not forget Matt Stevenson on the Dafabet Kawasaki broke his leg on day one here 12 months ago, so he missed out on a whole TT. And day before yesterday, he was in the 1:22s, and his fastest ever time was a 1:23.9. So going in the right direction, Matt Stevenson.
Well, the Yorkshireman, just saying.
Sean Anderson also
gonna be
had
a common
really good
theme.
Monday. Sorry, guys.
Go on, Matt.
Just that Sean Anderson, number 18, who's on screen right there, had a really good day on Monday.
Yeah, Northern Irish lad, really impressed with him. Nice fella as well. Had a good chat with him.
This is Davey Todd then, coming in towards the end of his first lap. Look out for the number 8 on the Milwaukee BMW. Everything he's touched has turned to gold pretty much so far in 2024. As we look at Don Herbertson coming through the bungalow. Shortly, Davey Todd will be coming over the line to complete the first lap of qualifying here on Wednesday night at the Isle of Man 2024. And we're surely going to see our first 1:30 plus lap. Just coming through the Governor's Dip now, and then on to Glen Crutchery Road. You'll wait for the hum past the grandstand here. Here we go then. Let's see what sort of lap time Davey Todd's posting as he comes past the grandstand shortly.
Jamie Coward winning
first. Davey Todd a 1:31.821.
We have a 131.8. Wow, that's pretty good for a standing
start.
start.
Yeah.
James Hillier has crossed the line, a 1:28.3 on his stock machine. Not bad at all.
It might be a guess at this point that the track's in pretty decent condition, other than what we've seen like at Glen Helen.
Yeah, I mean, when I went round earlier, and I know it's a while ago, but no, I don't think we've had any rain since, and it was just there. There was no other damp, just that was coming up through the tarmac.
Next up to cross the line is Josh Brooks, a 1:29.007 for the Australian.
It's quicker than he went on Monday.
Yep. Todd continuing. Just getting himself through Braddon.
Reported was quite slippy on the change of direction there, but the track was very green. You could see it even from the car this morning. If you look out wide to the coast, especially under the trees, it had a sort of green hue to it. That'll run in, especially on the racing line.
Davey Todd has elected to stay out for another laps on his Superbike, so it looks like he's going to get another, a little bit more time on that thing before changing over.
Yep, the bike will feel a little bit different. Second lap on the tyres, and also less fuel load. It's surprising sometimes, just with different setups, what difference a fuel load makes.
I should just say though as well, guys, that he's obviously that's not just a sign that that's a good sign. He's staying out.
Yeah, because if you weren't happy, come in.
I just want to point out Davey Todd's fastest ever lap around the TT I'm just going to check with Phil. 132.982 is what I've got down for Davy Todd. He might not be far away from that.
Yep.
Now he's got a flying lap under his belt, so that's interesting. I must confess, guys, I didn't expect to see a lap like that from a standing start to kick things off on Wednesday. So
he's kind of got that demeanour that Dunlop had last year, where he's just absolutely
having
hitting the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil Crow has just gone through chronic pneumonia. He'll be crossing the line shortly, and he is the fastest Superbike to cross the line so far, I believe. In fact, let me just get those standings up. There you go. You just had them briefly. This is Rob Hodson. He's about to come through as well. So the standings.
Yeah,
Hillier is fastest on the Stocker.
Yeah.
128.3. Davy Todd fastest, 131.821. Then it's Michael Dunlop second with a 130.342. There you see on your screen. Peter Hickman third fastest. Josh Brooks fourth. McGuinness in fifth as we track Josh Brooks on his second flying lap.
Yeah, it looks really stable there for Josh. And that was lovely. That's Crosby jumper. That's really nice.
Balanced, not out of
Just
shape.
nice. Just really clean. The bike didn't try and swap ends at all. So Phil Crow, third in terms of Superstock. But Jamie Cowell's on his Superstock, but it's the same bike, just with a different number plate on.
That's,
looks like James Hillier.
James Hillier, yeah. WTF Honda getting a visor change. That's Phil Crow. Number 19. Yep, they're on the Nigel Appleyard Agri-Wash UK BMW.
If you're actually in the Isle of Man at the TT this year, do not spill the man's pint.
Yeah, you want him following you, would you?
He's a nice lad.
He's brilliant, Phil Crow.
I've actually been on a podium with him at the Thundersport stuff in Scotland a long time ago when he was club racing out there.
Yeah,
Thundersport, isn't it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, was.
Yeah. Phil Crow, he's actually multi-champion over at Thundersport. We look here at Hodson now.
Yep. The Wigan Warrior.
Mike Brown, fifth quickest in the stocks, 126.081. Again, that's a step faster than he went on Monday on that Aprilia.
What's Mike Brown's quickest lap round here with the big bike? Because it'll be the same bike he rides in the Superbike.
Mike Brown has not quite broken the 130 club, I don't think. No, he hasn't. 129.294 is the best we've ever seen from the Irishman. Stock standings on the top of your screen. It's Hillier, Coward, Phil Crow, Nathan Harrison. 127.2 for Nathan. Spoke to him earlier on, actually, Nathan, and he's saying physically he doesn't feel too bad.
Did you see how much more care David Todd took round the left-hander at Glen Helen? He knew it was where he really rushed through and had to sort of sit up and sort of then resit the bike down first lap. We saw that it was a lot more sort of circumspect and straightened the bike out and went over the wet patches with a lot less lean angle, as you would. Yeah, that's the problem if you get damp pressure on. It's not like a short circuit where you're approaching the same point on the track every sort of minute and a half or so. This, you're approaching every, 16, 17, 18 minutes.
Davy Todd, by the way, is already 4 seconds quicker to Glen Helen than he was on his standing start.
Yeah, that's mostly due to the standing start, I would have said.
It says here that the marshals are reporting that Dean Harrison is making his own way back to the paddock, and you had asked me earlier if you're allowed to do that on a race bike these days.
I mean, he's going to do it, whether it's kind of legal, they don't have to catch up with him, but obviously, or whether that means he's decided to get somebody will give him a lift, and if he wants to get back from Ramsey, the quickest way is round the coast road and not backwards round the track.
I saw Michael Dunlop there. He came in at the end of his first lap on his Superbike. Tried to catch a word with Michael earlier on in the paddock. Do you think I was successful?
No,
of course I wasn't. I did have a chat with Steve Hicken though, and he was saying to me that there's all sorts going on down there. We already know that in terms of Supersport, he's going to back-to-back his Yamaha R6 later with his Triumph, but he's also back-to-backing his 2023 and 2024 Superbikes.
Wow. What a luxury.
There's a lot, but the only thing you say it's a luxury, Mark, but it's also quite a time-consuming process. Asked also how Michael's getting on because we saw that ice pack on his shoulder, and Steve said, we're not sure. He seems to be managing okay, but perhaps he might not have minded having a night off last night.
He was just stretching out his forearm there a minute ago. He was showing that he was like bending his wrist, and I guess it's on his throttle here.
This is Craig Neve on the Batham's Ales Honda. Number 9, and there's Phil Crow just steady through. I think you're right, James. They don't look like they're going anywhere for a day or
They're
two.
not going to go anywhere. There's water actually kind of pumping out through the gap in between the seam and the tarmac.
Is there anything that they can do about that?
I don't think so.
Do I look like a man who can lay tarmac correctly?
You're pretty much you're good at everything else. If you can't, then you probably know a man who can.
Yeah, the other answer will be
Patrick can help you.
Just give me 16 tubes of bathrooms here, please. And I'll get up there.
Napkins.
In the Berlingo, I'll be up there tonight.
Davey's on at the moment on lap 2 to Glen Helen, quicker than John McGuinness. McGuinness is 5 seconds faster to Glen Helen than his standing start as well.
Ian Hutchinson up to 123 plus, which is a good step for him.
Absolutely, a good step for him. He's already looking pretty happy, comfortable, loves the new Honda as well. So it could be a promising week. This is Conrad.
Yep. Gonna come in. How big is that fella? 6'4", is it?
He's tall.
We're talking to him today. He's taller than you think.
He's big, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did reference though, James, that
Yeah.
not everything is going straight forward on the big bikes. He's out now on the Superstock. He said, Supersport, I could do hundreds of laps, no problem, but struggling on the bigger bikes. Michael Dunlop heading back out now. Is he opting for? Is he doing another back-to-back perhaps? 23 bike 24. If you're wondering whether or not, by the way, his 23 bike is the one from last year that he did all of his business on, it's not. Steve Hicken was telling me they had to completely rebuild another 23 Honda coming into this one. So there is an awful lot of work going down to try and get Michael Dunlop up to speed.
Well, James Hind is next in line there to set back out. It would be cool if he could get a toe off of Michael, but of course he'll be 10 seconds at least behind.
And you wouldn't think he'd catch the Northern Irishman, would you?
Nathan
Yeah, this is Nathan Harrison.
with Spider, his mechanic.
Well, it must have been if it was my mechanic.
He was actually assisting me on. I was a stuntman for a photo shoot out in Chicago for a whole week, and we got to hang out. It was such a cool guy.
This is Julian Trummer, the Austrian, number 22. Teammates to Paul Jordan for the week on the Jackson Racing. Middle and down.
Middle and down, that's what he said.
Hillier back though out on his Superbike this time.
Yeah, Hillier heading back out to try and get himself a decent lap on their Superstocker there for Nathan Harrison as Spider looks on.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at those Hondas up close this year, but boy, are they immaculate. Even every link of the chain has been clean. And I love to nerd out on that kind of clean stuff.
But actually, you would struggle to find a bike that isn't turned out so well in that paddock. I
That's
noticed
true.
that.
This is Jonathan Goetschy, French rider, about to get his tap on the shoulder to allow him to leave pit lane. Number 46. It's Martin Morris on the Drain Cure and Sun Racing Honda.
First time on 1,000 this year, and it really blew his eyes open on
bet it
Monday.
I bet it did. 5, James Hillier, and back to Davey Todd. Right on the Milwaukee BMW.
Already at Ramsey, Mayhill, Cruikshanks. You can hear the traction control just cutting in there.
We've got a couple of Manx Grand Prix graduates that are doing the moved up for the first time. Marcus Simpson is up to 121, which is very respectable, and Tom Robinson 121 as well.
Yeah, particularly because Simpson was down twice, I think, on Monday as well.
He's trying. He's David.
Josh Brooks, 7.
Approaching Ramsey, Parliament Square.
Yeah, this tricky right-hander.
Short circuit style.
Wow,
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the way to go on the roads, but he's used to doing it on the short circuits, obviously.
There's a little bit of water there, it seems.
There is, yeah. I wonder if they had a shower, because it wasn't when I went through.
Brooks fastest through the speed trap, look, 205.098.
Can that be right?
205 miles per hour for Josh Brooks down the Sullivan Straight.
That must be a record, no?
I did have a little word with a few people downstairs to try and find out the exact stats on that. I've heard 208 is the record.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But, not that I'm shirking a 205 by any means.
sixth straight.
I'm not sure he can.
He won't be able to get back up now. No, he's always done that for his whole career.
Yeah.
He just kind of seems to like staying centered, and he goes right down the middle of the road. He doesn't use a whole lot of the road like, let's say, Michael Dunlop does.
Hutchinson just steadily trying to get himself up to speed. A 123.3 for him on his Stocker first lap out from a standing start. Don't think he'll be too upset with that. It's certainly a step forward from Monday.
Phil has handed me a note that said Bruce Anstey did a 206 on Taz Suzuki, which David Todd would be inching up close to there.
Still, 205. Oof. Unbelievable. So, at the moment, if you're just tuning in, we've got Superbike and Superstock qualifying. That's Phil Crow, just on the road, alongside Craig Neve. These two actually know each other quite well. They've raced each other on short circuits a few times.
Actually going back quick a little bit. You know, back to the trap speed thing. If the way it used to be done is it was far enough, the actual radar was far enough ahead that if you broke really late on the brakes, you were trying to go higher.
Yeah, I mean,
Josh is going to be a late breaker.
even on short circuits, it's critical where the speed trap is. You want it at the end of the longest straight, but you don't want it after the braking zone. And different bikes, different speeds on the straight, different braking zone. So it's quite critical.
Phil Crow was third quickest over the line of the Superstocks. He's gone out for a second lap on his Superstock, as we mentioned. He's going to be focusing mostly on that. Not everyone went out on a stock machine, I should just point out. Quickly did a 123.4. So I think we're going to see a few personal bests here this evening as we look back at the Austrian Julian Trummer, number 24.
Might be Paul Jordan.
Jackson race.
Yeah, it's Paul Jordan, I think. Cause
Trummer's 22, isn't he? You're
22,
absolutely right. Yeah, there's some Northern Irishman. Well, no, not the first time I'll be wrong over the next 2 weeks.
First time we've seen Paul Jordan on the big bike. Really keen to make some progress on that this week.
Speaking to his teammate, and so he wasn't even tired after the whole day.
That was Dom Herbertson just getting some work.
I've got to say though, Julian Trummer, the Austrian, does look in good order, physically.
He had an issue with the Supersport bike that he had to find his way back.
This is Davey Todd then. Brooks as well, through the bungalow.
Brilliant. Smack on line, just lifting the knee a little bit so it just skims the chamfered curb there.
Herbertson, by the way, on his Superbike did a 124.9. Todd faster than Brooks to the bungalow. 18.1 seconds quicker than Brooks. What about John McGuinness? McGuinness, in fact, second quickest, so he slots himself ahead of Josh Brooks. 16 seconds down on Todd. What do we think for Todd here? Remember, I'll remind you, his fastest lap around the course was a 132.982. If he does want to join that big three, if he's going to contend for TTs in 2024,
And he's
he's got to be making steps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's see if the first one is coming tonight.
His technician there.
Peter Hickman back out on his Superstocker.
Lovely. Some riders like to use the bus stop there on the outside at Schoolhouse, some don't. He doesn't feel he needs to.
Just getting some info in that James Hind has retired at Ballacrane.
Oh.
So he'll have to try and get himself back there. Not sure how easy that's going to be, but you can park up at Ballacrane fairly easy.
He's definitely not on 136 mile an hour pace, of course, but I don't know. It seems to me that he's just being a little pensive.
Yeah, I tried to quiz him earlier on about the sort of injury and the fact that he sat out Donington Park British Superbikes just a week ago, and he said that it's more than manageable, it's fine. There doesn't seem to be too many issues for him.
He would say that, though.
He would say that,
I'm not saying he has a problem, I'm only questioning it.
Let's have a look then here, because now heading up towards the end of his second flying lap, the likes of Josh Brooks and David Todd. Let's see what sort of lap it is, and is it going to challenge his best ever lap? Coming over the line now then here in this Superbike and Superstock qualifying session. over the line, and I'm waiting for that lap. It's 131.7.
So he didn't quite get there.
No, he didn't get there. In fact, it doesn't beat his standing start lap, which is well, surprising, because he was on course for it.
No telling. Just no telling.
Helicopter view of the grandstand here at the TT.
Go on then.
Get it stopped, Ryan. That's Ryan Kringle going slightly heavy into the Ramsey hairpin.
He's had some issues, I think. I understand on Monday.
I quite like that. David, back to the crew.
Pointing at his tire.
I wonder whether or not they'll now attempt to send Davey out on the Superstock.
Sure looks like it. Very curious what that kind of lap time will be. You know, that's the bike he's most comfortable with.
Michael Dunlop now out of Parliament Square. Still that patches in the road there as well, James.
Yeah, there is.
Dunlop was second quickest earlier on, 130.3 for Michael. But as we mentioned earlier on, back-to-back people, that basically means, for those that may be tuning in and aren't aware, he's got a 2023 Honda and he's got a 2024 Honda. And he is not sure which one he wants to use yet.
So he tries one and then back-to-back tests the other. And he's doing that in the Supersport as well,
Yes.
the Yamaha and the Triumph.
And let's not forget, there were a few issues with his pattern in Super Twins on the opening night as well, so it's all hands on deck for Michael Dunlop. I suppose you wouldn't really expect it any other way, would you?
Really putting in a solid day already. He's in front of, some really fast boys, to be fair.
Never Be Clever Racing, Yamaha. This is Welsh rider.
Yeah, reached Hardesty.
Yeah.
You can see that's a narrow bike as well. You can see just how much, if your bike is narrow, if the bodywork's narrow, you're going to get a lot of wind on your shoulders, and that will batter you.
McGuinness just in. His son Ewan there, just taking his helmet away.
Might have to put some foam on the tank, it sounds like.
Hold him back. Yeah. What happens is when you put the brakes on, you slide forward, so you kind of crotch into the back of the tank, and that's where you sit, because you've been forced forward under deceleration, and a lot of riders either elect to put, well, they need to be sat in the seats, so you put foam on the back to get you forward, and on the back of the tank to keep you back.
Josh Brooks is heading out once more on his Superbike. We've got three bikes all grouped together here. Number 37 there is Marcus Simpson, who we mentioned earlier on, who's doing well, a Manx graduate.
Yep, 48 Donald Tweed.
And Martin Morris, who we've seen before as well.
Yeah, back to the seat foam and the tank foam. Anything you can do around this particular racetrack to keep a little pressure off of your hands and your forearms, you'll last a lot longer. It's very long term, 2 weeks and 6 lap races. You really want to be able to, to take a little pressure off and have to hold on for dear life type of thing.
Yeah, and in actual fact, even on short circuits, if you see the sort of stomp pad gripper material stuck on the outside of the rear of the tank, that's because riders always use the legs to grip onto the bike, so you can, especially in the corners, the outside leg will be hooked into that tank. And that's why they use it's kind of stomp pad material, they call it.
You can see this little pot on the back of Hudgy's bike here. That little black thing is a GPS that all the riders and all the bikes is compulsory to run now, so that we can keep track of every bike on the racetrack.
Brooks actually did head out on his Superstock.
Could we keep track of where Dean Harrison is making his own way back from Ramsey? No, Phil says no.
No, but I'm sure the guys down in the paddock and Parc Ferme and pit lane will be able to notify us if there's any sign of Dean. How costly do you think this is? Bearing in mind...
Well, it's not ideal, is it?
Well, it's not ideal, I know that, but we lost a whole night last night as well, and he wasn't too happy with the Superbike on Monday, so on the back foot.
Honestly, I'm surprised that he got as far as Ramsey when we knew fairly early that there was something wrong. But he got to the laughing, dropped 30 odd seconds. So you would have think before that he'd have turned off and made his way back. If he's going to make his way back and ride on the open road, you'd think he would have done that earlier.
There are speed limits as well. We have to remember it's not a race back to the paddock. It's actually 30 mile an hour. It's actually some traffic.
Yeah, but that thing, last time we saw it, looked like it wouldn't even do 30
That's
miles.
true. He might have, oh man.
Yeah, He might have popped somewhere on the way back.
We have a change of the Superstock standings because just coming past the grandstand just a moment ago was Peter Hickman on his Superstock BMW. A 129.723 puts him in P1 in Superstock trim ahead of Jamie Coward and James Hillier.
Rob Hodgson, number 15 on the SMT bike. You know what SMT stands for?
Go on.
Standish Metal Treatment. Been in the paddock a long time. They're a really good team. And really enthusiastic. Put a lot of money into racing over the years.
Saw Patrick Hoff there, a newcomer.
Yeah, Hoff and Jamie Kringle was with him as well, number 47, brother to Ryan. Hickman then completes his Superstock lap and pulls in.
Remember I had SMT as a guy called Robin Croft. Loves his racing. Really nice fellow. And prepared to put his money where his interest is.
Hickman just calling for a drink after his fastest Superstock time. We'll keep an eye on Michael Dunlop, of course, because Dunlop will be coming over the line shortly on his Superbike. A 131.821 is the fastest lap of the evening so far in qualifying.
Yep, you see the little temporary oven in the back just to keep the tyres warm there.
In terms of the laps and sectors, Sean Anderson's at Cronknamona. That's Lee Hardy there and Dave O'Johnson.
David.
The 41-year-old Australian now heading out on his stock bike.
It's great to see him consistently at the top. There's his dad. On Monday, he was really there. I mean, he was really in the game. He had a year off, if you remember, a couple ago, and it looks like he's still the same guy.
He's such a laid-back fella, is Davo.
Okay, so Davey Todd's heading out on his Superstock bike, but Michael Dunlop is about to cross the line shortly on his Superbike. Is he going to challenge the 131.821 set by Davey Todd? Or has he already just crossed the line? It says here total laps have already been done at 130.342.
Update on Dean Harrison. He's last been spotted at Laxey.
He's slowly making his way back. He might be walking.
He might be doing 15 miles. Yeah, might be walking.
5 miles away.
Should take the GPS with him.
Hey, well, what you would do, I thought he'd come back on the course road, which is the quickest way, which is quite away from the actual TT course. But actually, if his bike stops, he'll just flag a car down. Everybody know he is on a bike and jump on and get back. Anybody bring him back.
Yeah, it's not that far on the coast road.
No, it's not.
I can confirm Michael Dunlop did complete his second lap, and it was 2/10 off Davey Todd's fastest,
Which is what he did on Monday.
over 37 3/4.
Isn't that wild? Can you imagine? That's like, show.
It's David Todd on his Superstock bike, by the looks.
Yep, out there. That's this. I believe this is his first lap actually of the week on the Superstock bike.
He needs to qualify this thing, just to be fair. I mean, he's got several days to do it, but he is not yet qualified.
And you rather fancy as well. This might be a weapon that he fancies. He's done so well on this in short circuit. He's been testing it.
He's one of the Northwest.
He's one of the Northwest. He, on the Superbike, of course, he ran Glen Helen close. He was tremendous in Supersport as well. He's going quite well on Super Twins for Defabet Racing.
He's got he's checking all the boxes that you need to be comfortable, and when you're comfortable, it's on.
Yeah, and plus the fact, if you're doing a lot of short circuit racing, you've got to be sharp. If you're winning British Superstock rounds, you're sharp.
And we've never seen a full fortnight with Davey Todd in his current, experience level. He's always had these little problems,
tire problems, and all sorts of
issues and tire issues.
Yep.
We might just see a really clean 2 weeks out of this kid and see what he's really honestly made of.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, agree.
Peter Hickman's gone for another lap on his Superbike. We might not get to see the back end of that because he's only just gone through Braddon Bridge. So that's out of Quarterbridge and then through Braddon. Michael Rutter has just gone through past the grandstand, 117.7.
Where's our man Steve Plater? Has he gone to the pub? He ain't far from one. He's pushing
Harrison.
I think we'll probably hear from Steve at some point when Super Twin Supersport go out. That's Steve Hickman there talking to Michael Dunlop.
Yep, taking over the team from his dad, Stuart. Really well-run team, this.
So Michael Dunlop's probably deciding which bike he preferred, honestly.
Dean
Yeah,
Anderson.
that's Dean Anderson. Look, I told you.
Did he borrow a bike or steal it?
No, he's been on the back of that.
Oh, he's on the back.
Flag him on down. I've done that myself. Anybody would bring you back.
He's had a lift and he's straight out.
You realise the guy on the CBR6 that brought him back is now a superhero. What'll happen is the team will get his number, they'll give him some tickets or whatever, they give him a pulse, or they'll look after him a little bit.
That guy has probably never ridden so fast on a public road before with getting hit in the back of the head by a Dean. Go, man, go!
All right, guys. Well, that's what we've got for now. There is still some lap times to come, so we could see some change. Davey Todd, quickest though, Matt, a 1:31.821.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Tom and Cam were super impressed with that here in the studio, chaps. 1:31.821 from Davey Todd from a standing start as well. Where I think we expected he would have probably gone better on his final lap, but obviously wasn't 100% comfortable.
No, probably just took it a little bit easier looking at the sector times. You're saying just a little bit off on every sector, so it's consistent. So he's probably just consolidated a little bit in that second lap. But that was brave, heading out there once again, unknown conditions that first lap, and we saw there was plenty of damp patches still on the way out of Glen Helen, and some other sections on the course were far from perfect. So that's really rocking on.
Yeah. Time to get your work done. But if you have got a super sport bike and a super twin bike, and then you've had to go out there late on to set your super bike lap, you are losing another sort of 20 minutes of this session, aren't you?
Yes, you are, yeah.
Dean Harrison won't mind so much, of course. He went out on his super stocker, but he doesn't feature in super twins, so when he comes back in, he'll jump straight onto a super sport. He might not have a lot of time to rest though, that's the only problem for him. So this class, that's Rob Hodgson about to go out on Super Sport, features Super Sport and Super Twins. Michael Dunlop going out on his Yamaha R6. Now, this is the machine that he's done so well at in Super Sport form.
Yeah, you can tell how rushed he is. He's still fastening his gloves up.
He's got that demeanour now.
Yeah, he has.
Well, this is a bike he's so comfortable on, guys. He has won 11 Super Sport TTs.
He's not going to want to get off it, I'm telling you.
I cannot see a way in which he's going to opt for the Triumph over the Yamaha, but we will see.
The Triumph is a very different bike. It's a bigger CCs. It's a 765. It'll have more grunt. It'll go out the corners a little bit better, but it is a very different bike, and it will be very used to this Yamaha.
Getting out on the Yamaha, he might even come in and think, you know what, with everything else I've got going on, back to backing a super bike, going out and trying to fix it. If this works, let's just get that tick that box.
Just like Cap said, you've got to pick the bike you want at some point and work with that to get that even better than what it is. You've got to choose one and go with it.
Going through Bridge then for Michael Dunlop.
You mentioned a lot of nationalities in the paddock. The Austrian Julian Trummer just set off on the Jackson-powered 600. Yeah, he actually hasn't been out on his Super Twins yet, which is coming up. And guess which bike it is? Jeremy McWilliams, third place finishing Northwest 200 twin.
Yep. Oh, fantastic.
By Burrows.
Brilliant stuff. I can tell you that Peter Hickman said he was going to hopefully get out and do a lap on his Super Twin later on. He was using the fastest Super Twin lap he set on Monday was using the same tyres that he had in for his Northwest victory. And he said they're so good, he's going to use them again tonight as well. Super stock times that we've seen from earlier on, they're still rumbling through. We will keep you up to date with a couple of the other flying laps that come in from Superstock and Superbike, but it's now time to focus then on Super Sport and Super Twins. Let's go down to the Crosby League then. Down to you, Steve.
Yeah, it's been all action just here over Crosby Jump. It is unbelievable. The biggest wheelie. Oh dear, this young. The biggest wheelie over the top was Davey Todd. I think he almost flipped it. Unbelievable. The bike took off. The rear landed first. He's obviously full throttle and boom, vertical. And probably the one that was dancing with the wolves was Michael Rutter. Massively unstable coming over the top, all the way down to where we are, and just managed to hang on to it. Now, obviously, you can see coming over now. We've got Michael Dunlop approaching now. Oh, did you see that? That was worse than Rutter. Oh my good God. That is unbelievable, it really is. When you get it wrong here, the wind's really gusting so hard. 1 minute it's calm, the next minute it's pushing really hard. The bikes can get very out of shape, as you've seen. Steve, back to you.
Thanks for that, Steve.
Wow.
Wow, that was unreal.
Is this it?
This is Michael Dunlop then.
Oh, dude. That's like flying off the edge of the earth, I tell you, the way it looks and feels.
And there's some fans there on the grass banks that have got some fine footage.
Yeah, that's frightening.
He's got his head down, Michael.
He's going for it. Michael Dunlop then out on his Supersport machine, of course, let's not forget, aiming for that 26th TT when we go racing on Saturday. We've still got qualifying to bring you after tonight, here tomorrow, Friday, and then we start racing on Saturday. In the Super Twins, number 18, Barry
Ferber. Yeah.
who had a really strong first day. Not everyone went out on Super Twins, but Baz was top of the timesheets for a while. In fact, he ended up inside that top 5.
Yep, always done best on the smaller bikes. He's English, but he's from right in the Welsh border. I think a couple of miles only from Wales.
Michael Russell, we saw, was getting some arm pump treatment a moment ago, and the number 34 here, just on screen on the Fraser Evans tyres recycling Aprilia.
Yep, just brand new front tyre. You can still see the sticker going round.
Speaking of riders from around the world, that's Francesco Coringa.
Yeah.
I have to say, when you talk about teams that field riders from around the world, that's Ian Locker's team, of course, Frog Vehicle Developments.
Yeah.
Riders from
an Italian, a Japanese guy.
Yeah. Fantastic. Locker, of course.
His girlfriend is Japanese. That's a link. So he's a sort of he's the the conduit to the TT for a lot of the Japanese entrants.
No rest for the wicked. Josh Brooks, the Australian, heads in after heading out. He's got a Superbike, he's done Superstock, he's got to change his leathers to match up with his Supersport or Super Twin. He rides for different teams in Super Twin and Supersport as well, so he'll have to change leathers when he crosses over those as well.
You got to keep the sponsors happy.
It's like a new version of Challenge Annika. That's Paul Jordan.
Different line there.
That was lovely. He kept it tight, got the bike turned and sat the bike up and went diagonal across the water. Lovely that was, given that you got to alter your line because of the water. Yeah, Josh Brooks on changing his leathers, blooming heck. That's a strong bloke. He fell off into the gravel at Donington and picked his bike up and he literally wrenched it into the air. And that's best part 200 kilos when you consider fuel and oil and the rest of it. Slightly less probably, but they're heavy.
In terms of Supersport through to Glen Helen, Michael Dunlop fastest, no real surprise there.
You can see the water pattern.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, just going back towards that inside.
I just hope it's not slimy. Like if it's been there for a couple of days, it might actually have a little bit of what is that, green moss? You know what I mean?
Quite possibly. We'll get a lot of feedback tonight and get to hear from the riders after this second night.
That section we saw there is called Lamfell. It leads directly onto Cronkybury Straight.
We have a French rider, Timothy Woodard.
It's going through Braddon. There you can see the times, bottom left corner of your screen. Dunlop fastest from Jordan, Michael Evans, Mike Brown and Rob Hodson.
Nice place to watch is Braddon. They've got some seats there. You've got to pay a little bit for it.
Jimmy Coward's not too far off with Mr. Dunlop.
That's really impressive. From Coward to Glen Helen, 6/10 of a second off.
Golly, that makes me nervous.
Yeah, me too.
Through a damp patch with that sticker still on the front tyre as well.
Yeah.
It's not a great combo, is it? Pierre-Yves
Yeah,
Bian
arm pump.
is fastest on the Super Tween. It's a rider that's recovering from collarbone injury on the arrival to the TT. So it's Pierre-Yves Bian, the Frenchman from Barry Ferber, Russell. The Italian Coringa's just gone to 4th, and Joe Yeardsley, number 16, a rider that we'll be talking about for quite some time. Really, really strong. Number 3 is it?
That's the Frenchman. Yep.
Not going to miss him coming either, are you? Pierre-Yves Bian out there on the VAS engine pattern 650. I will keep track on Peter Hickman's Superbike time, by the way. He got out late on, so he won't come out in this session. In fact, he's just gone over the line, right on cue. 3rd fastest in Superbike. So Davey Todd, fastest in both Superstock and Superbike trim, FYI. That bodes pretty well for him on day 2, effectively. We're on the 3rd day of the TT, but no action yesterday. Ready to go out on his Russell Racing Yamaha then is Josh Brooks now.
Ta-da!
Pops up behind the curtain. Tonight, Matthew, I will be a Supersport rider. Connor Cummins, by the way, went over the line, 129.2 on his Superstock bike, and that'll put a smile on his face because he was a bit worried about his big bike form, was the Manxman, and that puts him to third overall in the Superstock standings. There's confirmation of it. 130.4 for Todd Hickman, 129.7. Connor Cummins third, ahead of Coward, Hillier and Phil Crow. As Hickman back in after that Superbike run, feeds back some information to Darren Jones and his Olin's technician, and then he's got to make a choice now. Does he go out on the Triumph in Supersport or in his Swan Yamaha? There's Brooks, number 7, ready to roll.
Got his leathers on.
It must be exhausting entering all classes at the TT, James.
Did we hear if Phil Crow made it back round? All I'm only saying because there's word that he's blown up somewhere now on the course.
Yeah, no word on that one.
Just speaking on riding on the classes, I always found that the more you're riding, the more you just get loosened up and you start riding looser. You don't hold on as tight, and you start to get to where it's like a day's work, you know?
Yeah, it's actually a lot more difficult to ride several classes on short circuits. I did it. I rode 3 classes for a couple of years, and because you're on exact braking markers in each class, and they're all different, and different gear patterns, and it's really difficult. Here, it's not just on as much on the edge, so it's a lot easier to and it's not easy, but I'm saying it's not just as difficult as on the short circuit.
Yeah, and also if you just like riding motorcycles, especially around here, just jumping on all these creative different concepts and different types of engine configurations, it's really fun to jump off a Superbike and onto a 600 that screams its bloody head off, and it's a lot easier to ride, it's a lot more fun, and then you go back to a Superbike later on,
And then a Super Twin.
it's like hyperspace, and
With
then
half the power.
Twins is just like a tractor. Duk, 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 duk. You don't hardly brake, you just keep it thin to turn it.
John McGuinness has stopped somewhere around the course.
no.
Location TBC, but he's stopped. So we'll keep you informed on that.
Listen, if you get a chance to listen to the rev, this is 16,500 RPM, and that's cool. That was just
Formula One, it's
just
like,
beautiful. Yeah, lovely little engine is that R6.
he looks comfortable on this bike.
He does.
So much more comfortable than he's looked on anything else so far this week. Michael Dunlop,
Using all the road.
he to Balath was 2 seconds up on Jamie Coward, with Paul Jordan only 5 seconds adrift of Michael Dunlop himself. You can see from them those flags there, just how the wind's
Yes,
picking
he
up.
has, yeah. And they're going on to the part of the course now where they're going to feel it, up the mountain. Obviously, tree line just up into the hairpin and around the waterworks, but once you get up north of the gooseneck, then you're in the open.
Shout out to Mike Brown there, who's not a million miles away. In terms of Balath to Ramsey, he was only 4 seconds off Michael Dunlop.
That's the 2 Jackson boys, is that? Trummer 22 and 1
one is Jordan,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. You'd expect, you'd expect Jordan to be the quicker on the Supersport bike, no man?
Yeah, Jordan is the preferred choice. He lifted himself up to number 1 in the seeds, and it's the bike that you would expect Jordan to do some decent stuff with.
Michael Rutter on the Super Twin.
Dunlop fastest to the Ramsey hairpin, 13 seconds up on Jordan. Mike Brown third, number 14. Michael Evans fourth, and Hodson fifth. Here's Jamie Cowards.
Yeah, and it
He
looks like
immediately goes to second.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get on a little bit, doesn't it?
We got a little new information on the Superstocks that actually were finishing their laps. They haven't set back out yet. Todd was quickest with a 130.439, but Dean Harrison fourth quickest with 1 lap at a 129.2.
Yeah, and that's under duress as well. Having had the taxi ride back from Laxey.
That's some confidence, isn't it? There's confirmation on your screens of the standings from Superstock today, right on cue. Todd, Hickman, Cummins, Harrison. Todd, the only rider into the 130s in Superstock trim. Through your soul. It's a good look over his shoulder there. He is the fastest Supersport rider so far. Davy Todd, of course, has gone out there. I can tell you that to Balaf, Davy Todd 4th quickest. So to Balaf, it was Dunlop, Coward, Jordan and Todd.
We saw a newcomer there, and the reason that people do get the orange day-glow tops made for the leathers is because the novice jockeys don't last too long at this pace.
Hickman third quickest, 123.58.
Paul Jordan.
When you look at Paul, he's mentioned quite a few times leading into this week on the Jackson Racing team that he does want to focus a little bit more on the bigger bikes. He does want to get faster on them. But you can see how comfortable he looks on the 600.
Correct. I was just going to say, nobody's gone round Ramsey Epping as good as that.
Yeah,
Here's Davey up to Ramsey now.
for all the hard work on the other bike, but I'm riding the Yamaha again.
Quick shout out to Dave Johnson as well, bearing in mind he's just jumped on a borrowed bike, 122.4 Supersport.
Yeah.
Lift Davo up to 8th place. Ahead of Michael Evans and Rob Hodson, Dom Herbertson 11th quickest. This was earlier on today, on the back wheels of
Nice.
the Milwaukee BMW of Davy Todd.
Yeah, that's a... It did have the throttle closed a little bit there.
This
so
was
that's
out of
this was-
shape,
Yeah,
but Michael Dunlop. I'm sure the boys are going on and get tucked in to chat about that down in the studio a bit later on, and a little shot here of bad boy Josh Brooks, as he's known, on the Russell Racing Yamaha R6. Josh Brooks actually has just completed his second lap on that Supersport bike, down in 16th at 118.9.
breathing it a little bit harder than they have to breathe on most of the others to get the power out of it, tends to be then a little bit fragile at times.
Mike Brown fastest in Super Twins as Michael Dunlop heads out on the pattern. We're tracking there Josh Brooks. Brown fastest in Super Twins with 118.069 on his T. Scott Aprilia. Fantastic stuff for him. Went down to see that team earlier on, and they're all full of smiles on the Scott Racing Motorcycles Aprilia.
Yep, got a shot of Masayuki Yamanaka, the Japanese rider, on the ILR bike. Yeah, that helps.
You wouldn't bet against it. Anything.
There's a rundown on the left there of today's standings in Super Twin thus far. That's before Michael Dunlop completes a lap. This bike, remember,